All right. So we're diving into something kind of fun today, something I think everyone listening has probably thought about at some point, right? Like that whole idea of finding the one, that one perfect person out there just waiting to be found. We're working from a big stack of notes today for a potential episode, and it all comes down to this. Is finding the one like a helpful ideal, or is it more like a harmful myth?
Right.
So basically, we're going to unpack this whole like age-old quest for love, weigh the potential, I don't know, like benefits and drawbacks, see if we can find some kind of balance in all of it.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, so first things first. When we say the one, what are we even talking about? Soulmates.
Yeah.
Destiny. Like some kind of preordained love connection. What is it?
Well, and that's what's so interesting is that our culture is like completely soaked in this whole preordained match idea. Just think about it.
Yeah.
From the time we're kids with fairy tales, And then those rom-coms that everyone loves, even love songs really, they all kind of whisper this idea about two souls destined to, find each other.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Rom-coms, they just get that yearning. You know what I mean? Like they nail it.
They do.
Even if it takes a little, like suspending reality for a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But they paint this picture of, that perfect, someone just out there waiting.
Right, and that's a powerful idea. Like, this person is out there for us.
It really is. Have you ever felt that? Like, not to get too woo-woo, but that pull, that sense that someone could be the one.
I can see how people get caught up in that for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot. But maybe before we, like, get totally swept away by this idea of a perfect match,
yeah,
maybe we should see what, like what the research says, what those social psychologists are saying about all of this.
Right, because as magical as it might seem, there's a ton of research that offers, well, a more grounded perspective, I'd say.
Okay, so what does the research say?
Well, there was this one study, I think it was researchers at University of Western Ontario. They found that, this is interesting, couples who really believe they found the one actually handle conflicts better.
Really? You'd think it'd be the opposite, right? Like those expectations would lead to more problems.
Right. But it seems like that belief actually acts as a buffer. Like it gives couples this sense of security, a shared, belief system. And that actually helps them navigate the rough patches, They don't see those challenges as a sign that the relationship's doomed, but more like a test they have to overcome together.
So are we saying that believing in this idea in the one can actually shape your reality, like it's some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy?
It's a possibility, yeah. But like with most things, there's always another side to it.
Right.
So while it can be a source of strength, we can't ignore those potential downsides.
The downsides, right,
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Because we've all heard those stories, haven't we?
Yeah.
People holding out, for that perfect someone, maybe passing up really great partners because no one quite measures up to that image in their head.
Yeah, and that's where you can get into this thing, this fatal attraction thing. Psychologists talk about it, like those qualities that we find so, captivating in the beginning. Maybe someone's super independent, or maybe they're really spontaneous.
Right, right.
Those are the same things that can actually cause problems down the line.
It's like those rom-coms.
Yeah.
They never show you what happens after the wedding.
Exactly.
Real life is way more complicated.
Way more. And those expectations, they can really set us up for disappointment.
Totally.
Because then those little imperfections that were once, kind of cute, they start to feel like deal breakers.
And what about that pressure on the relationship itself?
Yeah.
What if you're convinced this person is the one, but deep down, like something just feels off?
Oh, that's so important. Because if you're holding on too tightly to this idea of the one, you might not see those red flags, those things that tell you maybe you're not as compatible as you thought, or those issues that aren't just going to disappear with a little more compromise.
So it's like we need to check ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Remember that no one's perfect and relationships take work, even if you feel like you found your person.
100%. And that's where the relationship experts, they remind us that it's about shared values, it's about compatibility, and it's about that willingness to really put in the effort, not just some mystical connection.
Okay, so less about stumbling upon some preordained soulmate, more about choosing to build a life with someone. Is that what you're saying?
You got it. It's about seeing that potential, for something really incredible with another person, and then being willing to do that work, all the messy, complicated, wonderful work to make it real.
Wow. When you put it like that, it kind of changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So where does this leave us then? Like if someone's listening and they're really trying to figure the one thing out, how do they approach dating, relationships, all of that, with some hope, but also with like a healthy dose of reality?
You know, that is the question, isn't it? And maybe, and this is just me thinking out loud here, but maybe it's about like shifting our focus a little. So instead of always searching for that one perfect person,
Right.
maybe it's more about becoming the best version of ourselves.
Oh, I like that. So working on ourselves, figuring out what we want in a partner,
Exactly.
learning to communicate better, all of that factors in.
100%. Because, when we like invest in ourselves, when we focus on our own growth, we're naturally going to attract people who get that, who get us, who challenge us in good ways.
Right. It's like that whole love yourself first thing.
Yes.
It's about being open to love, but also being like, grounded.
And being open to the idea that the one might not be, that preordained soulmate, right? The one who checks every box on the list.
Right.
Right.
But instead, it's someone we choose, someone we want to build a life with, who brings out our best.
So less about waiting for that lightning strike, more about seeing the potential when we connect with someone who shares our values.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then putting in the work to make it grow.
Choosing to show up, being real, all of that.
It sounds like the one is way more complicated than, I don't know, what those fairy tales tell us.
It really is. It can be romantic for sure, but those expectations can get us into trouble.
Yes, for sure.
But I think the real magic, it's not about finding the perfect person. It's about seeing how powerful that human connection can be, and then actually choosing to do the work every single day to make that love last.
It's finding someone who sees us, even the messy parts, and chooses to stay.
Yes, exactly.
And
right.
we do the same for them.
And that's the kind of love, the kind that lasts. Well, that was a lot. Really got me thinking. So to everyone listening, whether you're a diehard romantic or still figuring things out, we hope this got you thinking about how to approach love with, both your heart and your head. Because ultimately, the most important love story is the one we build with ourselves and the people who are brave enough to come along for the ride.